All right, that's good. Okay, Gurpreet, Tino, and Sikking. I hope you guys are also good. Right, so let me share my screen back. So yes, so we were talking about this example that, we have got a script running over here. That script is actually doing what? It's declaring a table variable. And this table variable is basically able to hold a table. And after holding that table, what it does is that it actually stores the data. So how do we do that? We define that table variable, big vendors, and we say that it might have two fields or two, columns. So then insert at big vendors. What insert we want? Select vendor ID and vendor name from vendors. Take those two things out of that. Where vendor ID in select vendor ID. So again, so just go and check those vendor ID where invoice total is greater than 5,000. Check them and put them all in the table. And then it's basically, that actually represents that vendor ID with. So you see that we have not taken the vendor amount over here, by the way. So, we might want to just, and we say that, okay, just put a vendor amount also over there, and we want to put that amount. So that we can also do. But anyhow, that really does what? So a table variable can store an entire result rather than a single value. To create a table variable, use declare statement as we have done over here. And we use the same syntax as the create table columns. We just give the column names over here, which columns we want to just, create. And it has a local scope, by the way. So, local scope means that it's only available in the batch where it is declared. So it is basically declared in this batch, and it is just, available like that. And we can, as I told you when we were just leaving, that we can actually do all the standard table operations: select, insert, update, delete. And we can just use them. The exception is that you can't use it within the into clause of a select into. So select into clause, we cannot use that, and we'll just see that, and we'll have some examples over there. Okay, after that we started talking about, and if you remember, temporary tables as well. Temporary tables can be created within a script. There are two types: local, global. So the scope of local temporary web tables is a database. They are very useful. So database session, they will just be available in database session, and they won't be available after that. And global temporary variables, they are visible to all sessions. Temporary web table name is limited to 116 characters. So I would like to just, talk about this temporary table variable, and we'll just see local like example of that one. This same, I'll just try to imitate that example. So let's come back over here, and let's say that we are creating local temporary table. We are doing that instead of a drive table. So we can create a derived table, by the way, but we are not creating a drive table. Rather, we are just talking about a local temporary table. So let's do that. So select top one, vendor ID, average of invoice total, invoice total as average invoice into, let's see that, into hash top vendor. So now this is what temporary table we want to create, and it's a local, by the way. From invoices, group by vendor ID, order by average invoice in descending. Right? So we are trying to create a table called top vendors, right? And then after creating the tables, let's first of all do that. Let's create the table. It's affected, or it's created. Now I'll use this one, look at that. How do I use that? Select invoices dot vendor ID max. So maximum out of that invoice data as latest invoice from invoices, sorry, join. Now we are joining it with the temporary table, like, temporary local table. Vendors on invoices dot vendor ID equal to, now go to the temporary table, hash top vendors dot vendor ID. Go there and find out that, right? And group them by invoices dot vendor ID. Look at that, what we are doing. So we are now joining this one with the temporary local table that we have created, and we want to just join them together. So let's run that. I might get only one result. Invoice data is not max invoice data is not the right thing. Okay, just give me a second. Invoice data. Did I make a mistake? Let me just see that. When ID max invoice data from invoices. Let's see invoices. What are the name of the table? Maybe I'm just making a mistake. Status from invoices. Invoice. Oh, invoice date. Oh, sorry. I'm using invoice data. Invoice date. It's just max invoice date. The latest one, right? So let's do that. So see that 110 vendor ID has the maximum or the latest date, and that is actually what 31st October 2020. So makes sense. So it's basically that is creating. So it's creating a local. The hash will create a local. So local temporary variable. Now, if you want to create, maybe a global variable, a global set of that one. So how will do that? Look at that. I'll say, look at that. I'll write that. Now, global temporary table. If I want to create a global temporary table, that should be available everywhere. And for that, a very good example, if you remember, we have talked about that one before. Create table. First of all, hash, number 2, like 2 twice. Random SNS, all right, SSNs. Random SSNs. We'll just create some SSNs for that one. So first of all, I'll say SSN ID int identity and SSN char 9 character. We'll just give that default left. Now see, remember cast ceiling of random into maybe I'll say 1, maybe some random number. So let's take a random value and as big int. So we have to cast that in the big int and cast that one into varchar with 9 value. Look at that. So we have that one. And now first of all, let's see if I have not made any mistake here. We are creating a global variable, right? Okay, so it has created some variables. And now let's look at that. Insert hash random SSNS values default. So again, produce that and put that one and insert it twice. Let's do that. And now if I just select that one, the global variable, select everything from hash hash random SSNS. Okay, I'm just doing an intentional mistake. I have nothing over here because I've not inserted. Now if I insert that, one row effective, and let's do that. And you see that I'm getting these two variables over here. So this is now a global, like, local global table. It's a like, temporarily exists during the current, like, this table will be available on the current session, right? And if typically if you talk about that one, a temporary table exists only during the current database session in the management studio. That means the table is available unless we close this window and we just go out of it, right? And temporary tables are actually stored in the system database named tempdb. And if we need to drop a temporary table before the end of the current session, we can just do that by using the drop table. Right. And as I said, that local temporary variable, this hash top random, it will be only visible within the current session. But this one that we have created, the global temporary, the global temporary table is visible to all sessions. So to identify a local temporary table, you prefix the name with hash and with double hash. You know what I mean? So we can just use that one. For example, if I just create a new query and I just go there and I want to run. Let's see if when it stops. All right, so let's see that if it allows me. Okay, now if I just come here and I just try to run, oh, not insert. I don't want to insert. I actually want to run that one. There is a little issue with that one, and that is the issue that I want to talk about. Let's see if it comes up with a result. The problem is that temporary variables, I don't know if I've mentioned that it's mentioned over here as that or not. Now they've started try catch and UDF. No. So just remember one thing which is not there in the slides, and I'll just show you. These temporary variables, be it local or global, they are slow in speed. And drive tables, on the other hand, they are actually faster in performance. So remember, wherever performance is an issue, we will go with our drive tables rather than these tables. You know what I mean? So we need to keep that in mind, right? So let's look at that whenever just it is done. So that is that we have to just keep in mind that a local we will just use that wherever that happens over there. All right, so now let's move to the next one. So we have talked about if else. We have talked about we'll see that case and end again. So case and end is actually just like that, same like a switch statement that we have. Then we have try catch. We begin a try catch example, create table payment, and try, begin catch, print payment table exists, print error message, and we can just use that one. So let's take one example of this try catch as well. And I'll just come here and let's say. So what actually you're talking about exception handling. Right. So if I just want to create this table, let's see. It is still executing 23 seconds ago. And this one is also taking a lot of time. I don't know. So, just remember that by the time it is also executing, remember that like exam question that I've just, mentioned over here, that, the speed is an issue with local, temporary variable, temporary tables. If we create temporary tables, be it local or global, we will just, always have a look at that one, that we will just, try to have, try to have that one. uh, we will just always prefer that. So look at that. So command completed successfully, and it has not created that one. And if I just do that again, run that again. I'm running that again now. For the first part, it is executed, but now let's see that. So you see that there is already an object named payment in the database. Payment table exists. So it prints out these two lines, right? So that's what the try catch is basically, very interesting. If you just, the try catch, it will just let you know that, what's happening and why this statement has failed. That's what we have just, mentioned over there. So that is related to that try and catch blocking and try and catching. And let's see if I have another example that I want to just use with try and catch. Let's see that. Okay, we'll just see that. We first of all we'll do with that. So system functions identity shows last generated number. Added row count shows the number of rows affected by the statement. Error shows the last error number. Server name shows the local server name, and system user shows the system user. These are them. Then we have user defined objects, and I don't know why I did not discuss a while and do while loop, or maybe, yeah. So before even going into that one, this system functions and session settings, or basically user defined functions. I'll just come back. Before that, we will just, use a while loop and see that how while loop even works with that one. So let's see one example of while loop, or we can while statement as well, even though it's a while loop, but we are just, saying that it's an statement. All right. Okay. So now I'll just give you another interesting aspect over here. If I say use AP again, we are using the AP. So see, if object underscore ID. So if we have this temp DB, I told you temp DB has actually these one. So if that has an invoice copy, is not null. If that already exists, this object is already exists, do what? Drop table. If that table is already there, table hash invoice copy. Oh, I forgot the hash on the top. Invoice copy. So I'll say that if that is available already, hash invoice copy is available, drop that. So that is always a safe statement, that if it is there, just do that, remove that one. Now, otherwise, let's say select static into hash invoice copy from invoices, where you remember we have used this formula a lot of time. Invoice total minus credit total minus payment total is greater than 0. Now here comes the while loop. So we are saying that you have to run this command, and now here while, if condition, like condition is there, select sum invoice total minus credit total minus payment total, right, from invoice copy. So that the one that we have created, invoice copy. Invoice copy is greater than or equal to 2000. right? While this happens, begin a transaction, begin something. Update invoice copy. Set credit total equal to credit total. See that credit total plus 0.05, right? Plus not equal to. Add this 1.05 where invoice total minus credit total minus payment total is greater than 0, right? And yes, then implement an if statement. If select max credit total. So see that if that credit total is basically greater than, the maximum is from invoice copy is greater than 3,000. If that happens, break that. Remember this break statement? Else, if that does not happen, like again, else, else means like, what is the case? Actually, what has happened? That select max credit total. So I'm just, mentioning this over here in the comment from hash invoice copy. Actually is what that is less than or equal to 3,000. It is less than or equal to 3,000. Do what? Continue. Like, that continue the loop. And it will continue from here to the while, all the way to the while, remember. And then I would just give an ending to this begin. Right. And now I'll do that one. I'll say select invoice date, invoice total, and credit total from hash invoice copy. Again, the one that we have created. Right. So again, if I just run that directly, of course, we know that it says it's an invalid sum. And again, I'll just come here and I'll just run that one. And I would just, run this till this point. Let's run that one. It's running the loop and it will just run for every statement where it is greater than or equal to 2,000. And then it just, updates the invoice copy and set the credit total to 0.05. Let's see when it comes up. It hopefully will come up sometime. So here we have made use of break. Here we have made use of the continue, because these are the statements that would really give us, powerful scripting, because script actually depends upon these jumps, jump from one place to the other, because you actually find out that like, what you have to run in response to a particular happening, if it is happening. Let's see when it comes up. So it will take some time to execute, remember, because, it's a script that has some, while going on. So remember, this script will take. So you'll see that it has already taken 1 minute, more above 1 minute. But let's see that. So this might be another potential, potential exam question, that when we used while loop, how much time that loop or that query took to execute, like, the when we're just using the while query, how much time does it take to just do that. Oh yeah, so now it is just done. It has, see that it has says that, yeah, 11. So like, look at that, 1 minute and 40 seconds. This might be a potential, exam question, Sagar, that, if how much time that while loop query just took that one, right? Okay. And now if I just come here, it is just showing that row affected or everything. And now if I come here and run this query, so it took 1 minute and 40 seconds. And that's very reasonable because you know that you are running, you're running a while loop and you are trying to just, just produce these things. So look at this result. So this result is basically it is coming up from the invoice copy that we have created. And from the invoice copy, it just tells us that, for example, in like, for example, the January 10th invoice total was 8531 and credit total was 8531. And in the same way, it is just, bringing up those one, and it is just coming up from invoice copy, the temporary table that we have created from here. So invoice copy hash, which is local temporary table, and it just creates that. So see that to execute a statement sequence repeatedly, we use while statement. This statement is executed as long as the conditional expression is true. It will keep on running. So whenever we need to use or run two or more than two statements, we use within a while loop, enclose the statements and begin and end. So we had multiple statements, so that's why we have just put that into begin and end. And to exit somewhere, typically we use the break, or to continue from the top, we'll just use that continuation. Make sense, everyone? Now let's come back here. So now they have just started, that the user defined functions, UDFs, user defined functions always has a return data type. UDF can return scalar table value. Use select to perform a UDF. You can also use in-store procedure. So that is basically the UDFs that we talked about. So UDFs actually do what? They are the user defined functions, and we want to create them to have that, this typical thing that, how we want to create a typical transaction or typical functions we want to just, we want to run. So that's typically, it's over here. So user defined functions, if you look at create function, debut to Fahrenheit at Celsius decimal, define that one, returns decimal as begin, and we just, try to create that function and, run that function. So I will just run that one as well. But let's talk about this one. So if I just create that one, if I just click that, copy that one, and let's come here and I say UDFs. UDFs is starting over here. So if I just copy that one. So now if you look at that, create function, and don't worry about this one. It says that it should be only statement in the batch, but we know that, we can just run. So now like I'll just run that first of all to create function created successfully. Now, if I just pass a value, you can look at that as we do in the programming. We pass the value 100 and it comes up with 212. If I pass any other value, if I pass value of 160, for example, and you run that one, you see that my Fahrenheit just comes up over here. Make sense, everyone? So this is user defined function that is basically in action. And it actually does what? It basically, brings up the value, or it gives us a, very interesting fact that we can have like a procedural programming language type of functions that we can write. And these functions will typically help us out to write literally the script or the code that refers to, that actually refers to the real programming language, or the, so to speak, quote unquote, the procedural programming languages. It will just show us the procedural programming languages over there. Make sense, everyone? So that is typically what? That is typically our function. Let's come back to our slides. Another function, sum payment. Let's create that one as well. And we are still running into that one. So I'll just have a return, take the return back. And after getting the return back, we're still working on that. So let's come back. It's here, create function. And I'll first of all create function till this go statement. Get some payment baseline start invalid common amount. It says that amount is okay, is not a invalid column name amount. And let's see that if it is not there in payment. So payment should be in AP database. Let's check that one. And why not I check it over here? Select everything from payment. So anything from payment, if I run that one, I just get F1. Okay. Okay, if I run this statement to run this one, DBO user defined function aggregate, its function is not defined, of course, because it has not defined that one. Okay, project amount. It says that it is not. Yeah, so there's no column name as amount. Okay, just give me a second. Where I'm missing UDF. So payment table has just one done. Let me just see that. Of course, it does say that user-defined aggregate function does not find. Let's see that where we have created this payment. It's created over here. Yeah, so payment table is here and it has. Okay, why don't payment has that one? It was. It's here, the table is here. Let me just. And why not we use something else, just because payment does not have any values, no problems. I'll just come and get some payment and sum of, for example, if I say invoice total and from invoices. Let's create that function if that works. Yeah, it create that. And if I just call this one, so it gives that. So again, the amount, there was no amount, and that's why it was just showing over there. So that works UDF2, right? So then after that UDF2 SQL command. SQL command is a powerful shell, PowerShell, which allows executing SQL statements outside of SQL Server Menu Studio. SQL command SQL CMD provides a list of execution. The utility allows batch scripts. We are not using that. Let's talk about the stored procedures. A script which is stored within the database, when executed, what it does, for the first time, the code of the procedure is compiled and execution plan is created. The subsequent execution do not require the compilation unless the code is changed, which makes stored procedure executing faster than any script. Except Sabrina, unlike file-based script, only one batch allowed. Stored procedure has only one batch allowed. Convention starts with USP or P. We start with the name of the procedure with USP or SP or P. Executing a stored procedure can be performed from the script or from another stored procedure. Stored procedures are permanent. They are stored within the database. Again, they will be stored over there, right? So they're just like not an ad hoc basis or something like that. Storage can also be local starting from hash, global starting from hash. Again, the same thing with the stored procedures as well. With recompile makes the database recompile the stored procedure every time it is executed, required for stored procedures, which is volatile data. With encryption makes database encrypt the stored procedures. This is very important sometimes in the security or privacy issue. You always want to, encrypt your stored procedures. Let's see if it is example. Yes, let's take the example of stored procedure. So let's come here. Stored procedure. So now if I come here and I say, for example, create proc p get all employees as. So right, we are just creating that one. Select p dot number, p dot first name, p dot last name from employee and join it with what? Person p on e dot number is equal to p dot number. Order by p dot last name. So we are ordering that by last name. Let's do the go, like again. And now execute. We have not used execute before. Execute p get all employees and go. Right? So let's run that one. And let's first of all create this batch or run this batch. Complete it. It has created a procedure, stored procedure. And if I just come here and execute that procedure get by line 3 batch start invalid object name employee. Okay, it says employee is the which line? Line number line 3 batch start 155. Okay, 155 and where I made a mistake, we get all employees as select number employee. It does not find employee, right? E join person P. Let me just see that. Yes, so it's not recognizing that. Okay, so API does not have an employee database. Oh, it's TBL employee. I think it's TBL employee, right? Let's run this one. Yeah. So I'll just come here and I'll change that TBL employee. Let's run that one now. Okay, it already has, of course, so I'll say, for example, 1, just to change that. I can alter that even. So it has created that one. And now if I run this one with 1, of course, it says that, oh, I'm actually 2. No problems. I'll just run that. Procedure employee lines 2 batch start invalid name person. Oh, it also does not find person. So I'll just drop that and run that one. First of all, let's run that. Okay, we have already that, so just drop that. Raw procedure p dot p get all employees. Right, drop that and now create that successfully. And now if I run this one, yeah, so it says person is not the right one. So let me just see which table we want to use over here. Uh, Okay, so which one we are using here? Contact updates, payment. Terms employee payment. Let's see that what it brings to us. So just bringing up something. Let's see that. Okay, let's see that. Oh, yeah. So this is employee table, and is that talking about SIS table? Let me just check that. Tables of SIS, and it has, yeah, it has employee. Oh, it has person. So yeah, so it might be talking about that. So my bad. I was checking that over there. So it has to be over here. Oh, this one is there. Yeah, so it is actually using SIS. Oh, no, no problem. So now, other than TBL employee, it will just use employee will work, right? So now let's run this one. I'll 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 run this from this one and drop it if it is already there. Okay, okay, no problem. So okay, it should be the first statement. Run that one. Cannot drop the procedure because it does not exist or import. Okay, right, no problem. Yeah, so it's created now. And if I create exist that now, my query is running, and let's see how this query will be executed. All right. Okay. All right, let's see that. So it's now working. Right. So now, yes, let's see that. So it's not just producing that one. So it has created that procedure, and that procedure is working fine, right? So now let's try to create one more procedure over here. And I think I have given that in over here as well. So stored procedure one, stored procedures parameters. We can just pass the parameters as well. So this is the second one. We'll just pass some parameters and we'll see that how we can work with those parameters and all those. So let's come back over here and let's create procedure the get employee, and I would say at school. So character of 3, comma, at name, variable character of 20, write as select e dot number, p dot first name, p dot last name, from employee E join person P on P dot number equal to P dot number. You see, and where school code equal to at school. Just check with that school, and the variable, and last name like at name, and go. Right. So let's do that one. And what I'll do is that I'll just check that, pass the value here, execute, we get employee, EI, or let's say UYURO VIC. Let's pass some of school randomly, and let's see go. Right. So let's first of all create that one. Hopefully it all goes well. Creates that. And now if I execute that one by passing the school parameter, you see that it's just giving me those two schools, or like again, it's just giving me that one. So school and the name. So it's just passing that one, that it is the first name is that one. So that is typically a procedure that typically works with that one. Make sense, everyone? So that's quite interesting. Now let's come back. So we just passed that one. So now if we optional parameters, we can have optional parameters as well. If you pass that one, we can just check that one. So I'm not running this query. I would just leave that to you to run that query. Call parameters by the name, for example, we can just, call the parameters by name. So we can just say the student name is equal to percent, like, anything, and total by name as an output. It will just, show that as an output to that one. So returning value and this is stored procedure 5, the returning value, if you're just getting the returning value. So again, as I said, you can just check these codes over there later on. So system stored procedures, there are some system stored procedures as well. Their name states with SP, state system stored procedure. SP help return information about the database objects. SP help text shows any stored procedures use defined functions. SP help DB. These are all, these are all the system stored procedures. If you want to see all the stored procedures, we can just, run like this, and we will just able to see that one. So let's see that. Let's see what example of stored procedures. Stored procedures, and run that one. And if I just look at that, run that one, and let's see what it comes up with. So you see that in the database, P get employees, you have one, stored procedure, and P get employee. These are the stored procedures that we have created. Remember, we have just created those in our previous code. So it is just showing us all the previous codes being saved over here. Right. So this very much ends up our today's session, and I hope you enjoyed today's session. I hope you will. So it's updated. All the lecture file is updated on your course shell. You can just find that over there. If I just show you, if I can show you that on our course shell, it is updated. So this is our week 11, by the way. So in week 11, I've just updated this scripts one. This is the file that is already over there. We don't need these views because we have already done that. And now what I'll do is that I will upload my today's file, which is now saved. And I would just upload this file over there. So any questions from anyone, please let me know. I will just try to do that. So I'll just go to the courses, and it's 2024 codes. This week 11 part 1. I'll just save that one. So you'll get everything over there. Make sense, everyone? Any questions from anyone? Sagar, any question or anything? I'll just stop recording now. Okay. Thank you very much, Sagar. Anyone else having any questions?